Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call our meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Cowan. Here. Councilperson Bowman.
Here.
Councilperson Massey.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Aldridge.
Here.
Councilperson Brown. Here. Mayor Bradley.
Here. Invocation, Councilperson Brown.
Let's pray. Lord, we come to you tonight with humble hearts and a servant's soul. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to serve our communities. We pray for all of those who are sick and can't attend tonight. Lord, we pray for all of our first responders, that you would keep a hedge of protection around them. Not only them, Lord, but our soldiers, our men and women that are on foreign soils, Lord, that are fighting to keep our freedoms so that we can have the opportunity to serve our communities. Guide and direct every decision that's made here tonight, Lord. We thank you for the opportunity to serve our community and to serve you. In your name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the approval of minutes of 3/12 of 18. Has everyone had a chance to look over those? Did anyone find any mistakes, or do I hear a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Cowan.
Yes.
Councilperson Bowman.
Yes.
Councilperson Massey.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Aldridge.
Yes.
Councilperson Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. Please report, Captain Goodwills.
Well, I already handed the monthly report out to you. Everybody should have a copy of that. Just go over a few things real quickly. We had made served 2 felony warrants, made 1 felony arrest, and 18 misdemeanor arrests, worth 12 actions. We were dispatched to 1,098 calls, had 13 domestics, 22 fire department assists, and 56 other officer assists. 53 911 calls, 256 patrol requests, 62 public assistance, and 3,706 business checks, and 34 calls on I-59. We also had 18 violations related to driver's license, suspended, revoked, expired, or failure to obtain, 4 domestic calls, and 8 DUI arrests for the last month, which was kind of high when you look at it. And I just don't know if it was the pretty weather at the end of March that caused that. It seemed like that's what caused that. And then on the back page, you just have the comparison report.
Anyone have any questions for Captain Wells?
The last thing I had was Chief Danny wanted to bring about the draft of the ordinance for governing the operation of trucks and commercial vehicles primarily on Blackjack Road, where we have a lot of heavy vehicles come through. But after reviewing the ordinance, and on the second page it's highlighted, it says delivery of building construction products. The building sites located adjacent to road, streets, and thoroughfares is to be permitted, which would kind of defeat the purpose of the ordinance. Because you wouldn't be able to keep that heavy equipment traffic off that road.
Okay, I had shown that to Attorney Barnett, and he's going to try to.
I mean, the option to have permission to remove that in that particular item, if that's the trouble that's occurring.
Yeah, it seems like instead of them going through the front entrance of Carrington, they come through the backside to deliver a lot of the equipment and construction supplies that they're still building homes back there.
And obviously it's causing some dangerous situations.
It is. It is. This is such a narrow road back there.
The same thing happened in Hickory Valley several years back when they cut that road in from Hidden Brook, and they've just been, since they've opened up the back entrance now, the same thing seems to be happening that was happening. Cars are being ran off the road.
That's right.
ask you this. Why are we singling out Blackjack Road? Why not Roll Lane Road and Bill Smith?
It applies to all of them, it's not singling
It's
anything
not
out.
just saying
I
that.
saw the Blackjack Road mentioned here several times.
It is, I believe it does leave, and of course, this is exactly why it's being brought to you in draft form, because I knew it wouldn't be perfect at this particular stage, but if you wanted to, obviously, it's like you said, it's broad and it can be applied to most any place in the city.
They just brought, he just put that in there for an example for y'all to look at. We're not gonna do anything with this
Yeah, I
tonight.
understand. We have to have 2 readings and all that.
He just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention because the police are having problems.
And so we can discuss it, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
So if that is singled out and there needs to be other roadways identified specifically, then let's do that.
Glenn, would you get a copy of the roads that y'all would like for this to apply to? And then bring it back, or give it to Casey and let her call the attorney?
Absolutely.
So that he could add those roads?
Yes, ma'am.
And keep in mind, there's a reference to an appendix as well. And if, obviously, it doesn't have to be exhaustive of the roads, but if you wanted to identify specifically the roads that are most troublesome, or it needs to apply to specifically, then it can be just a bullet list. And we
Okay.
can add it. There's some, typos and those kind of things that are already a problem in it. So this is absolutely a rough draft.
Okay, yeah, we can take care of that.
And the reason Blackjack was mentioned was just because they were using that for an example. Is there anything else for Captain Wells? Thank you, Captain Wells.
Thank you.
Next, we have fire report, Chief Heath Smith.
All right, for March is what these numbers are for. We issued 11 burn permits. We had 20 medical calls, 5 motor vehicle accidents, 2 wood and grass fires, 1 assist lifting, 1 automatic fire alarm, 1 assist police, 1 gas leak, and then 1 line down in the roadway for a total of 32 calls. Kind of a slow month, but we'll take it. We'll use it any chance we get. But in addition, if you look at the bottom, one of the things that I wanted to do tonight, it's kind of near and dear to me. Anytime that we have an individual that goes above and beyond the normal duties that they're signed up for, I want to make sure that we recognize those individuals. And tonight, if I could get Lieutenant Scott Payne to come up. As you know, he acted in the interim chief's position during the time frame there between my arrival. And I've got a letter of commendation that I wanted to present to him tonight, and I'd like to read that for you guys here. This letter serves a special commendation for a job well done during your performance of duties as interim fire chief. Your willingness to step up at a time when the Argo Fire Department needed leadership was above and beyond your normal duties. I have worked with many leaders during my time as a firefighter, and your actions were not only unselfish, but also honorable. The sacrifice made by you and your family during this time are to be commended and are deserving of a great deal of gratitude from myself, the mayor, council, and the citizens of Argo. So thank you for a job well done. He not only acted in that capacity, but he did a lot of things in that 2-week time frame that really made the transition smooth and easy for me to come in and get things started. So I just wanted to recognize him for that. Next on the list is the brush truck 971 is in need of having the tires replaced. I think one of the issues with that truck, the reason that it's been needing of tires so frequently as of late is just simply due to the load that those tires are carrying. So what I've done, I've went and actually got a couple of different quotes that are in your packets there for you to kind of review. I recommend that we use local business, which is Hardison. They actually came in a little bit cheaper on their quotes than Brown Automotive did. So with you guys' permission, I'd like to see about getting those replaced from the local business here. Lastly, I wanted to discuss the possibility with you guys on burn permits of starting to implement a $10 charge for burn permits. Reasoning for that is kind of twofold. Number one is to cover cost of the office supplies that we're using to generate those permits, because we have to give a copy to the individual doing the burning, we have to keep a copy on file, and then we also have some computer stuff that we have, software that we use to track who has burn permits, who doesn't, that sort of thing. So I would like to offer that up as for discussion. If you guys are for that, against it, opposed, what have you, I'm open to hear anything, but I want to try to implement $10 for just residential burn permits, and then for commercial, looking at a $50 charge for those. And the reason being, the other day we had a fire on way down Blackjack across the railroad tracks. It's actually, I think technically could be considered moving. I mean, it was that far out there. But it was a commercial tree business that had brought in all kind of root balls and big logs and trees and things of that nature and set them up to burn. They didn't have a burn permit, they didn't have anything. The fire got away from them, and ultimately we spent about 3 hours out there with the full department trying to put out a woods fire that had gotten away from that controlled burn. So by implementing this, not only does it give us the ability to recoup some of the costs that might be outlaid through helping those guys, but also the cost of the materials in the office. And then lastly, if they don't come and get that burn permit and it's not on file, then that gives our police department what they need to charge these individuals that are burning illegally, which seems to be a common thread that I've noticed just in the short time frame that I've been here. So any discussion on that? And I don't know what the proper procedure is that we would need to go through to do that. But
that was my next question, Mary. So you're requesting a mandatory burn permit with penalties, criminal penalties in the event that you fail.
Well, the ordinance is actually already in place as far as the penalties are concerned, and it's actually ordinance number 191 that was passed. Let's see. It was actually passed October the 7th of 2002. So it outlines those penalties that are for illegal burning.
2002, October?
Correct.
Mayor, at your direction, I'll pull that ordinance and look to amend it if that's the pleasure of the council.
Does anyone have any questions or anything they would like to ask Mr. Smith?
I know I had a burning at my shop last week, and I shoot on the bus because I knew I'm supposed to get a burning permit, and I always come when I'm going to burn something, but they decided to light the fire. They didn't know, but
I mean, it
we
happens.
were there and watched it.
That's the reason that the permit process is in place. It's not, it's not to be a penalty to the citizens, it's not to try to add layers, but it's just a way for our guys to be notified that that's going on so that they can be kind of on high alert.
Well, all our guys know not to do it now.
Right. Thanks.
Anyone else have any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, would you like me to bring that amended ordinance back to
Please.
the next?
Yes, please. Okay, our road report, Ronnie Bowman, Corky Massey.
I looked at them.
I think our deal was everybody wanted to look, see if there's anything else we could take off the list to make recommendations. And Fire Chief too, we've got a problem. You were right. We've got 2 Sweet Gum roads, or drives, or whatever they are. I think the one out Bill Smith, or out Roll Lane Road, is not actually a city street. They just put a sign up that says Sweet Gum. And Sweet Gum actually is off of Loop Road up here. But we need to get it straightened out for emergency purposes, if nothing else. Y'all go right by and see Sweet Gum.
Not only
Y'all go
that,
the wrong street to,
not only that, we got our census coming up. We need to make sure all of our streets and stuff are marked correctly and stuff for the census purposes.
and did Darrell, I was through there last week, Wolf Drive has still got a hole that you can lose a Volkswagen in.
He was supposed to win, I
Supposed to done it.
talked to him about it, and he was gonna go take care of it, and he was, something else might have come up,
Okay,
and
well,
didn't.
I know he's
I will mention that to him again in the morning.
And in the morning,
Casey, would you make a note of that to give to Tommy in the morning to ask Daryl to?
and he may have, because it looks like a scoop has come out of a pile of
Okay.
cold mix. And another thing is, well, I got a load of dirt on top of back of my dump truck. I'm gonna dump it off that place on Rollway Road, and if it's not enough, I'll carry another load. It's on the truck now,
Around the
ready to
house
go.
on the right.
Yeah, down in that,
Yeah.
where everybody's scared. We dumped a load there when we paved that 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was, but it's still bad.
Do we have any reports on Katie Lane, anything to add to that?
One of them called me and told me to call him, and I called back and told him to call me back, and I never heard back from him, so.
Okay, so y'all probably have a report on Katie Lane next 2 weeks.
I don't know what the report would be, but I'm talking about,
Well, not a report, but a question.
Dan, Doc, yeah, I talked to him, and, but we've not got anything. We're just gonna have to get out there and measure and pull up our bootstraps and do something, you
Well, my
know?
question is do we need to do that? So what we were told by AEMA is that we can't spend our own money.
They get reimbursed.
So we can't spend it period because that throws, that, not only that $15,000 or $17,000 grant, but also some on John L. Was it John L. Smith?
Tom L.
Tom L. Yeah. Tom L. Smith, it throws it in jeopardy. So should we send that out for bid again before we get a response from AEMA? In other words, we may be sending out for bid that we can't, that we can't.
I can send an email tomorrow to them and see if we can get a response back from them. And then I can call y'all and let y'all know if we get that response back. And then y'all will know how to proceed with that, whether to go forward with getting other bids or.
Have you got a copy of this stuff that we're talking about?
No.
I'd like him to look over it right quick. He could tell us
Okay.
Yeah, but
more
we
so
got,
than we can.
we met, Corky and I and Ronnie, we met along with county engineer, and we've got a plan of action. But I don't know how do we implement it, because we were told that if we added our own money to the grant money, we would jeopardize that grant money plus grant money that's already been spent on Tom L. Smith.
Yeah, the work on Tom L's already been completed.
Right. And so we wrote a letter last year, I don't even remember, it's been a long time ago. We wrote a letter, explained the situation, and asked for direction, we haven't got anything back.
It's been about a year.
No, it's probably been about 7, 8 months, something like that.
Something been on that. Because what last year's hurricane season was one before.
But we have not, we asked for an extension on it.
And
Grant money.
responsibility, excuse me, the response from that letter is critical. Because when that letter was written, I was all in support of it being written because that's the feedback you need. You need their confirmation that you're not going to jeopardize the grant proceeds and permission to go forward. I think that's critical. I think they need to be pushed somehow to provide a response, and the mayor's email just might do it if she gets the right person.
Call and ask for a response.
That's what you're saying. That'd be good. I mean, the faster the better.
Okay, as soon as I get that response, then I will give you guys a call and let you know where we stand on it, so y'all know how to proceed with that. Okay, anything else for the roads?
Send it to everybody.
I went out today riding some of those roads, and in knowing that from the conversation that there may be some of those roads that have to come off of that list if we don't have the money to do them all. My suggestion would be, let's count the rooftops on each road. Some of the roads that were on the list, I feel like Daryl could patch, even though I know he has patched some. But some of them that have 6 to 10 houses on them, I think we can patch those holes if it comes down to it, we have to cut something.
That's sort of what I did too. You may be looking at some of what I cut, like Oak Hill Circle or whatever it is. The first street to the right, if you're going past Buckeye, coming this way, up a steep hill,
In the woods.
Oak Hill Circle, no. Is that in the woods?
You go in the woods to get there, Oak Hill.
Okay, well, that's
Oak Hill's
Oak Hill. Anyway, up there, the last 650 feet on the far end of the loop I took out, because there wasn't but 3 houses, like you said. Everybody could come out on their side of the loop, and there wasn't but a couple of potholes we could patch. I went through and did that, and then, top of the ridge at the end of Rolling Road, I can't remember the names now. Up there where all the Everetts live, Bobby Everett and all.
Yeah.
The last 300 or 400 feet of it was not our road, it was just a driveway and two, and so it was measured too long, so I took like 300 feet off of that. Tony rode over some of them with me too. Well, I showed you where, Ridge Road or something.
Well, why don't y'all just come back with a list of roads that y'all feel like that we can,
Patch versus.
Well, that's what I did.
So do you have your list with you tonight?
I presented everybody a copy at the last meeting.
Yeah, and I don't have any disagreement with the list that all of those need paving. I still think the one thing we gotta decide is can we pave all those up front, especially with this Katy Road thing. I mean, we've either gotta say, we can't worry about Katy, I mean, not that we can't, that we don't know what the outcome's gonna be on Katy Road. And so we gotta move forward with what we know, or do we hold money in reserve? That's the real question in my mind. It's not where any of those, I think every one of those roads.
Yeah, I mean, what I cut off needs paving, but it's not in the kind of need as some other, but I cut off $15,000 or $20,000 worth of things. It wasn't, like I said, that's all I could justify cutting off. If somebody else wants to add to it, I'm still happy with that, but May's fixing to be here, we gotta commit.
Yeah, that's my only question is, do we commit to doing all of them now, or do we say, damn, we need to do X number? And I'm not talking about, all those roads need paving. We just need to set it, if we're gonna do that, we need to set a dollar amount that we feel like we can spend and just go down the list alphabetically, however we want to do it. And so this is where it is, this is how much money we got. And
But that's why I want it to be a group decision, you know, because
Okay, how about everybody
when you
look over
get out
that
there
list?
at Buckeye, the day after the county moves out of here and somebody's road didn't get, I don't want to be the only one that thought their road shouldn't be paved, you know.
yeah, but you gotta keep in mind, that's not a list of every road in Argo.
I know that.
So there's somebody gonna be that.
People have seen that list is public, the original list was public, and they've seen it, and they expect the road, and then when it don't get paved,
But I'm not
You see
advocating
what I'm
not
saying?
paving it, I'm just
I know,
advocating waiting.
but they thought they were on the list for this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I just want it to be a group decision instead of
One or two people, I understand.
me being the one that singled it out. I took some of it out, and I'll take, responsibility for what I took out, but, once it goes beyond that, it needs to be,
Okay, if y'all don't mind, if y'all get that road list and everybody come back to the table, in 2 weeks, and let's see what y'all have suggested be cut from those road lists, and then we'll make a decision then, because like Corky says, May's coming up pretty soon, and we've got to make that decision before they start that work. So y'all just look at the list and then decide which roads that maybe we can do next year instead of this year.
and I mean,
And I'm hoping that it's not even next year, I'm hoping that it's just a safety factor when we get done with Katy Lane, that pipe, and we still got the money to do it all.
but I don't think FEMA's gonna be, we're going into hurricane season again, and FEMA's gonna be, and they had all these nor'easters in New England in a row up there. They're all dealing with all the big stuff. They don't care about our little ridge in Katy Lane in Argo, Alabama.
Okay,
And there's no way you can.
anything else on roads?
Except for like y'all were talking about, call or email them and ask for a response to the letters.
We'll do that tomorrow.
And we might need to start doing it once a month or something.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just squeak and wheel.
Okay, feedback report, Jim Link,
We don't have anything tonight, but
city attorney report.
Mayor, just obviously, we've got a meeting to execute, hopefully, the solid waste agreement for the bid on Wednesday, and also, just to let the clerk know, the audit letter from the lawyer is needed, it's on my desk, and I was hoping that you would get that today, but I don't think my secretary sent it to you, but it's complete.
Teen council report. We don't have anyone from teen council today. CCI invoice, $5,888.50. Y'all got in your packets. And Tony, since you've been handling all of this with CCI, I'm gonna let you speak to that. You want to see mine?
I've already sent it.
If you don't have
I've
it.
got it here somewhere. It looked like to me that it's all still within the contract, they're billing the balance of the construction documents, billing some money towards this hourly budget, which was originally $7,000, and I think that they billed a total of, or completed to date is $59.55, and there's some reimbursables, premium and shipping, so it all looks to be within the contract.
Next, we have Stone and Son invoice for $9,142.82. If y'all remember, when we did the feasibility study, this was for the camera that was already been approved, but it did run over by about $1,000, about $1,000. So we've already approved to pay this, but I just wanted to let y'all be aware that it did run over $1,000 than what we approved, so we might need to.
We need to,
I think we bumped that number up.
we did address that, I think,
Okay.
but our problem is they've knocked down the fence there at Misty Pines, the board fence. It's not been fixed.
Did they do that?
I think so. Somebody involved
So
with
they
that.
haven't known who did it.
Well, it was when they were setting that whole.
Glenn, do you know anything about that?
Electric service. electric service.
See, I thought somebody, there was a traffic accident near there, I thought it was a traffic accident.
Yeah, but that ain't when that happened. It happened when they were setting that new pole with the
Okay.
electric meter and all that on there, or ask them about it.
I don't think that was Stone and Sons, that was the,
It was one of the subs, it was somebody that was dealing with that stuff.
I don't think it was Stone and Son, I think it was the Trustful, or one of them utilities.
Telephone company.
Well, we can
We need
check.
to find out before we pay, because, I think they set an electric meter on that pole that they set, and it got tore up while that was happening. It could have been a car running, but now, a car couldn't have hit it without tearing that pole down. It looked like the pole was responsible for it, but like I said, I don't know, and I was under the opinion, I was by there every little while, and they were there working on it. One time, and I went by and wasn't nothing on the fence. Next time I was
It
there, they were
wasn't,
still
it wasn't
working on
Stone
it.
and Sons.
Well, they wouldn't have been out
Well, it could have
there
been
right there.
Alabama Power setting the pole, or
We'll have Glenn check on
it's
it.
electric service for some of that stuff.
If you'll check on it, then get back with us. If Stone and Son did it, we'll ask them to come and repair it before we pay this.
Yeah.
But,
You know,
I'm not sure.
the computers and stuff, or whatever it is, that works the same, or is it right there across US 11 from this? Look at it, and see what I'm talking about.
I believe so, but I just want to bring it to your attention. Okay, anything else on Stone and Son? Okay, pavilion improvements, Councilperson Brown?
I'm texting him as we talk. Could you do the storm shelter update, please, and come back to that?
Okay. Tony, storm shelter update?
I think everyone got this in the packet. I don't know if the attorney got a chance to look at this, if you got a copy of it. It's a standard AIA document that came from the architect. I think one of the things that we're required to do as a part of that grant was establish the reasonableness of their fees. And in looking at it, their explanation for their fees is that they generally use Alabama Building Commission fees, which is used for schools and municipal, a lot of municipal buildings, that kind of thing. And so it looks like it's all, if you use those tables, it allows 7% of the total cost for their fees. Well, what they're actually proposing is around, I think it's 5%. And that's reflected in the contract documents, so to me, that is 2% less than the standard state allowables on that.
With that being said, they've met their threshold of making that reasonableness study, if you will. So I think that's acceptable. You just had to cover that paper to file accordingly. But as far as the AIA document, you know, it is what it is. You've seen them, I've seen 1,000 of them, so 2,000.
So I would recommend that we accept that. Now, the second thing that we have to do there is the civil contract. And I received that last Friday, and I had planned to send it out to everybody, but I'm not satisfied that it's where it needs to be before we all agree, before we all review it. So I'd like to hold off on that.
So would you like to go ahead and make a motion on the,
I would.
okay, you want to make that motion?
I would like to make a motion to allow Mayor Bradley to sign the contract with Adams Stewart Architects for the design of the storm shelter. And the amount of, it would be 5% of the total construction cost.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Brown?
Yes.
Councilperson Bowman?
Yes.
Councilperson Massey?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Aldridge?
Yes.
Councilperson Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Bradley?
I'll abstain since I'll be signing. Okay, are you ready for the pavilion?
I am. I have a couple of different proposals. He has just texted all this to me. He sent it, I'm sorry, Fort Bear Electrical that did the smoke alarms. I asked him when he was here the other day doing that, I asked him if he'd walk up there and look at the pavilion. And so what he has proposed is 6 LED lights, 7 electrical plugs, and that would be $1,272. For $150 more, he would add a dust dome light under the pavilion. We didn't discuss that. He just said, while I'm here, if y'all want a dust dome under there, it would give the fire department, police department at night, an opportunity to be able to see up there better.
And it'll be LED.
I'm sure he didn't say, but I would imagine.
So 150 for that.
150 for that, yeah. So if we want to do that, there is a little over $1,300. There is a little over $1,300 in that account. So there is enough to cover it if we elect to do the dust dome, or if we elect not to. What I would like to do is ask permission to do that. And I would like to check with, of course, Councilperson Bowman doesn't know what lights he's looked at specifically, but I would like to ask permission to have that done, not to exceed the $1,200, $1,300, just in case he ran into this, because his estimate was $1,272, so just in case he ran into a little something.
Okay, you're saying
$1,300.
1272 is the total with the 150.
Let me check that.
I would like for us to go ahead and get the dust dome light since we're having that done, if we can possibly.
Well, my suggestion was to talk to the police department, the fire department, and see if they, we're only talking $150, if it would benefit them as far as being able to see what's going on up there. He just sent me another one.
And the
Okay.
dust to dawn, you're saying put it under the pavilion or put it in front of it?
Put it either way. I don't
I think it would
know.
need to be up under the
Yeah, wherever
gable or something,
wherever
so
would best
whatever
benefit.
bugs it attracts.
It would probably deter anybody from trying to break in those Coke machines up there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mess up the
I
bathroom.
would say
It's not
whatever.
used except for the bugs
Um,
underneath, if you put it up in the gable, it would keep them from wanting to be under, above the tables.
That's 1422
Yeah.
if you have.
So- No, 1272 has the dusted dawn light on it already. I was taking that off of there to see. I just wanted to be sure we were gonna stay within the balance that's in that park account is what I was doing. So I would like to ask permission, because he does have a full-time job and this is a part-time job, I'd like to go ahead and ask permission not to exceed $1,300, knowing that it may take a few weeks for him to work it into his part-time job schedule. That's your motion? That's my motion.
And we got nothing else we're fixing to have to spend on the park.
No, sir, except for the drainage that you and I have discussed last year. I think that's all. That would give us 7 electrical outlets in there, 6 lights in there, and then that light outside that would help with security. I don't know of another thing that we could possibly, the bathrooms are functional. There's a lot of dusted dawn light in between those 2 bathrooms. So I think that should finish that project, until you and I deal with the drainage.
Drainage stuff.
And that could be next year's budget.
I mean, it won't be no budget, I just do it.
Well, we gotta buy some, if you're gonna donate pipe,
How much pipe is it? I thought it was just a ditch.
I think you said 100 feet last year. Well, we'll deal
I
with
went in
that.
on that, we'll look at it.
We'll deal with that separately. The biggest thing now is just getting permission to have this electrical work.
Do we have a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Cowan,
Yes.
Councilperson Bowman,
Abstain.
Councilperson Massey,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Aldridge,
Yes.
Councilperson Brown,
Is it okay for me to vote yes?
Sure.
Attorney Brown? Okay, yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. Okay, on the mayor's report tonight, I have several things I would like to remind the council of. We got our E911 invoice for $39,010 that has to be paid to E911. Our St. Clair County juvenile detention fees for $4,359 is to be paid. I want to remind everyone that the mayor's breakfast is coming up May the 8th. It's going to be here in Argo. We need a sponsor for that. If anybody knows anyone that would like to sponsor the breakfast this time. Cool.
If you can't, if nobody else wants to. Well, I just volunteered Massey Paving too. I'm not Massey Paving.
Okay, Massey Paving's going to pay for the breakfast.
I guess I could do this Corky's LLC.
Okay. Our mayor's meeting is going to be tomorrow in Margaret at North Valley Church at 7:30. That's the 10th. Reminder that April the 12th, the city hall is going to be closed. Casey has to go to class. She will not be here the 12th and the 13th, but on the 13th, City Hall, Tommy's going to be back, so he will have City Hall open. But Casey will not be here either day, so I just want to remind everyone of that. So City Hall will be closed down on the 12th. Reminder, May the 14th, the council meeting is going to be changed to May the 15th because of the class that everyone was going to go to that Ann had recommended changing it for.
That's in Pelsey.
What was that class, Ann? What, do you know what it was called
It was
again?
that grant thing.
Yeah, grant writing class.
Community involvement or community, I'll send everybody an email with that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you'll send that out because,
I'll do that too.
okay, the Heart of Argo pageant, the exchange student Katie, she called me yesterday and said that she's had to cancel because there's not been enough of participation in it. So she's going to come up with another project for her that she needs to do before the end of the school term. Our sign ordinance update, Corky has brought us some
I
stuff
got
to
a copy
read.
of Asheville's. Margaret didn't have one.
Okay.
Ann got one from Springville, but it looked like a Bible.
So you have one too,
We're hoping we
and do
can-
you mind if give Casey a copy, let her make a copy for everyone and
Find something in between.
let her give that out to everyone so that we'll have something to compare and maybe we can take some bits and parts out of each one.
And Oakville, they don't have a sign ordinance or zoning.
Oakville doesn't have either?
No. The only thing they do have, which I got a copy of, was an application for a yard sale permit,
Okay, good.
and I got a copy of the permit itself.
Okay, do you mind letting Casey make a copy of those also, so that everyone can have a copy of those?
As far as the sign ordinance, they don't have any zoning at all.
And her bundle for the sign ordinance from Springville did have an application in it, nothing else we needed, because I didn't get one good.
Yeah.
Okay, if Casey will make a copy for everyone, and then us look over that, and then bring it back to the next meeting with some bits and parts of each one that y'all would like to see implement in our own. Just, everyone try to look over it so we'll know what we're talking about.
And I'll bring, my secretary was out Friday sick, and then today was her day off, so I didn't get a copy of that.
If I could encourage everyone to literally highlight or mark the ones, the pieces of those ordinances that you like the most, that you want to see implemented. I'm currently working on one in another jurisdiction. It's more like a Bible, that's what we're talking about, but I don't think it's applicable here in Argo. It doesn't suit the situation, so I can provide an ordinance, but, I would rather you all bring your preferences to the table and then let me compile them.
The one, and the one Springville, or
Just for the sign.
that's just their sign ordinance there.
Yeah, I'm currently working on one that's just a tenth of that, but it's still too much.
And Asheville's is,
We gotta have something simple and something that we can enforce, that's not gonna be a
and our thing is we've got to have somebody to enforce it, and if it gets to be something like that, Darryl, he can do it, and I couldn't go out and enforce all that.
Well, that's the reason Oakville said that they didn't have one, is because if you put one in place, you've got to be able to enforce it. So,
And Gene Barker at Margaret, that was, well, I'll wait till my report, or the council report, you need to approve yours, I guess. Let's cut it in.
that's okay. Let's see, as the attorney said, that we have a meeting on Wednesday with Mr. Shows, Prevent Disposal, to discuss the trash pickup and all. I've asked our attorney to sit in on that.
And to execute the contract.
Right.
You all approve.
Right, so,
What,
that will be
what are we
Wednesday.
executing the
The
part
con-
that we approved?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's council comments.
I met with Mayor of Margaret and their inspector, and they've got a ordinance here that pretty well spells out building fees, not license, permits. They've got spelled out permits, and they've got some inspection and stuff and all. It's giving us something to get started with without all the legal stuff. It's just ordinances, and it's all, he says that they have, that they can enforce it, and it does good, but they still, with this, do inspections.
Okay, I don't know if y'all are aware of this or not, but Heath Smith, our fire chief, is certified in the codes and everything. So he said once he gets settled in, that he would like to, also help us with that. So,
Okay, and we
so
would appreciate
he is certified. So
but at the same time, we all decided we want a full-time fire chief, so
that's right. That's true.
we can't tie him up all the time.
And he said that. He said that his first job is to the fire department. That
And
if he can
Gene
help,
Barker said he would help any way he can with this kind of stuff. And also, it's a permit that brings in a little bit of money, but it mainly to cover the inspection fees and stuff, but it's something we ain't got to spend a whole lot of money and get something on the books. It's like she's talking about the sign ordinance, a big part of this. We got to get a hold on some of this stuff. It just, everything's out of hand.
you're right.
Food for thought, Mayor, that jurisdictions can share personnel. Just food for thought.
But he says he's overwhelmed. Gene says he's overwhelmed. I asked him, could he send us, could he do for us, but he had done 11 inspections that day, and this was about 2:30. He's doing electrical, plumbing. Oh, did I?
There was I had a discussion with Earl Peoples back a year, more than a year ago about whether or not they'd be interested in, doing some sharing. Because I don't think any of these communities need somebody full-time, us included.
Also, the police chief was in there the day that we were discussing that, and he said he's willing to go to class and be certified.
Who's that, Darryl?
James
James,
Downing, our police chief. He said that he would be willing also to be certified and help on that if we were to implement something. So we have, between the two of them, and if Darryl would like to go too, I'd like for all three of them to be able to help with it.
but this is the copy that Gene gave me of the new requirements the state has for insulation at a house.
Gosh.
And he says they're already requiring that they try to enforce it. And you got it, it's a pretty much a Bible on its own, but it's gonna be a mandatory thing. We won't have a choice on it.
Standards have changed.
But, we got some local people are certified in it.
Is there anything else, any other council person have any comments?
I have a question. This wasn't on the agenda, but it's something that I have been asked through my homeowners association to inquire about. And it's just something for you guys to think about, and we might get answer it tonight, I don't know. But in our subdivision, the developer, of course, filed bankruptcy, so the streets belong to the residents. We have in the past just patched holes as we've gone to keep our roads in as good a shape as possible. We have recently gotten a quote. The first two cul-de-sacs, when you pull into the neighborhood, those two streets are completely finished. As in all the houses have been built that can be built on those two cul-de-sacs. So the question that I was asked to ask the council, and I could not remember what has been done in the past, is that if those two streets are brought up to code, would the city accept those two streets and not accept the whole subdivision? The whole subdivision will not be finished up to code, but those two cul-de-sacs could be.
Streets are usually taken on an individual basis unless all of them in the street are
Well, this is a
in
subdivision.
I know, that's
So,
what I'm saying.
and I don't look for an answer, I just thought maybe it's something we could think about, so that I could advise them
We gotta
whether
get
to
something
spend
going.
that, whether to spend that $16,000 or not to.
I got a question, yes. Why are the streets residents?
Because the developer filed bankruptcy, so the streets are not up to code, just like your neighborhood.
But what happens to the lots?
So this is
that are
another
not sold? They go back.
Well, we're only looking at finishing, or they're only looking at,
He's ready to answer your question.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna let you finish.
No, go ahead, we're having a separate conversation.
Councilman Bowman indicated that there may be something in writing from a previous ordinance or decision from the council on point. I'd like to look at that before I give a definitive answer.
Okay.
But I agree that different phases of subdivisions can absolutely be taken in independent of the entire subdivision, that's obvious, but in that case, you may want to think about putting a bond just in case there's deterioration of the road or something happens to the road for a certain period, whatever that period may be that the council chooses. You don't have subdivision regs per se, but that's typically the way it occurs. But I would like to, I think I would have to pull that document that Councilman was
I
talking
think
about.
we
So
do
that
have
would
some
be-
records, I think we do have some requirements.
Yeah, that's what he was referring
Yeah,
to.
standards, we have those
Yeah.
standards.
Requirements that has
But,
to-
so would that, when you talk about a bond, would that be an additional expense on the homeowners?
Yeah,
What I have-
it's an insurance policy, it's an inexpensive insurance policy that protects the city in case they decide to take it over for a certain length of time, some are a year, some are 3 years, and it's inexpensive. It's basically the 100, typically 130 to 150% of the value of the project, so that's normally the way that
I
works.
understand. Okay.
The ones that I've been involved with is, once that last layer gets on there, the bond goes away, but the city will not take it over for a year to see if there is anything else that needs to be fixed. In the meantime, wear and tear, you'll see potholes runs in or what, and then it has to be fixed again, and then the city accepts it after it
And I,
satisfies the city.
and I agree that's the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
Then there's no fighting with the bond company in the end.
And that goes to the gutters, the
Yeah, y'all
curb.
did it at
I believe
Saturday.
that's what we did at Summit Ridge.
Yeah.
but I couldn't
It can't
remember
be
the
cracked, it
details.
can't be chipped, it's gotta be one.
Well,
They had to repair all of the the curbs
They had
and
some
gutters
gutters,
and
I
all
remember, that needed to be repaired.
before they could be taken in,
And
so.
our streets were fine, it was just a few of some
Right.
drainage things and curbing.
I'll see if I can find
Thank you.
that document that's in place.
Any other council members have anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wanted to remind everybody, we got a bid opening tomorrow at 2 o'clock for the improvements to parking here at City Hall.
and we have had some interest in it.
To my knowledge, we've got 3 contractors on the plans.
I've had 2 of the 3 calls. Turn on the way.
Okay, is there anything else? Okay, do we have any public comments? Anybody sign?
Mayor, I wouldn't think of the wooden fence that was damaged. It was damaged by a traffic accident, and the homeowners associations have talked with the insurance company. They're getting quotes to repair the fence.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you doing that.
The other thing, I think our lawyer's advice on is, I've had some of the people that are bidding this call me about dirt, wanting to buy dirt for the project. What would be wrong, I mean, after the bids, for me to sell the dirt and then donate it back to the town?
Sell them, I don't advise that. The donations, I'm iffy on, believe it or not. There's, the selling it, you can certainly do business with the town, but there has to, the city of Argo, but it has to be pursuant to the bid process. So I don't advise you to do that. Again, donations are not as clear as I would like them to be. I mean, they make me nervous, even donations of themselves, for reasons we talked about. But so I don't advise you to sell to a contractor dirt. Because obviously it would be with good, it would be with good, great intentions and probably above board, obviously, since we're discussing it. But I have a feeling it would walk a thin line of the law.
Can you give them the dirt and let them donate so much to the park fund per load or something like that, or does it need to?
No, that would be something that would need to be written into the bid in advance to give everybody a fair shot at including that in their thought process. Even though I see where you're going, to cut down the price of the project, it's ultimately going to benefit the city, but I don't think it will be proper under the bid law.
That's why I asked.
Is there anything else? Anyone sign? No one signed? Okay, you have,
I understand that there's a need for an executive session, and that would be what I would request you all to vote on. The topics of the executive session are twofold, as I understand them, to discuss potential or imminent litigation. Of course, that's a proper purpose under the Open Meetings Act, and also to discuss security measures and security plans and investigations in relation to those, that potential discussion. So those would be the topics that I think would be discussed as I understand them. So, and those would be proper topics under the Open Meetings Act, and that would be my declaration for the minutes.
okay, we want to adjourn and just not
Right. At this point, I do not anticipate a vote on anything that's discussed in the executive session. It's informational only. And so I would suggest that you adjourn the meeting, understanding that you will not meet at the end of after the executive session is over. So basically, you're adjourning into an executive session.
Have we got anybody up there?
No. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Into an executive session.
Into an executive session. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Cowan?
Yes.
Councilperson Bowman?
Yes.
Councilperson Massey?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Aldridge?
Yes.
Councilperson Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Bradley?
Yes. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Michelle. We missed you last time. Sorry, I had to work. Who are you with? Oh, the St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm always sorry. Looks like there's another journalist already here.
I think it's from Trustman.
Is it Trustman? Okay, I'd like to talk to him. I've just started doing
Oh, yeah, he's here all the time. Here, hold on.
I think that my pantry, I got all set up for tomorrow, I still have
Thank you for coming. I've got so far up in there. It's scary. Oh, okay. We finally got somebody to come from St. Clair.
It's because of my mentorship I have right now. I have a partnership with Jeff State. They're currently on the state.
Are you an exchange student?
No, I'm not.
Okay. No, he's just a student. Just a student.
But yeah, this is my first city council meeting I've ever been to, so I didn't know what to expect. Trying to figure out what story I'm going to say. So it looks like everybody's kind of fleeing away.
Thank you. They gotta go to the executive session.
I just want to know like how long you've been doing
Journalism, I've been in it for about 7 years, something like that. I started, I started at, I'll say,
It's Christmas Eve and one thing after another.
yeah, I started
I'll tell you
an
after.
intern in a paper called North Jefferson News in Gardendale.